guys, Ed Hub from Full Blown Customs. What I'm going to show you in this video is just a little bit more advanced on the glass etching. Now, I've got a mirror here, and what I've done is I've taped a picture on the front of it that I want. Using transfer tape, I've put the picture on top of that. This is the same transfer tape that we use when we do airbrushing painting wise, but we're doing glass etching. So I've laid it on here, and then what I've done is I've taken carbon paper, laid it in behind, laid my picture back down, taken a pencil, and drew the whole entire picture out. Now from this point, what I've done is I've put my picture back up, taken an X-Acto knife or a razor blade, whatever you want to use, and I've cut out all the outlines. So I've already pre-done that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull each piece out at a time, and I'm going to show you how to shadow and shade with a sandblaster. Well, with an air eraser. Let's get going. As you can see, this is the picture that we're using. Now I've already got everything cut out, so we're going to take our X-Acto knife, and if you notice the wider parts right here, that's what I want to sandblast. The darker parts are what are going to stay the mirror. Now around like where the cross is, I'm going to leave the cross parts in, and I'm going to sandblast around the edges of it. Each part of the fingers, we're going to go back in, we're going to sandblast a little bit around the edges, leaving the shadow part, the glass part. It'll be a little bit easier to understand as we go here. So take your X-Acto knife, peel this piece out. We're just going to go ahead and let it rip on the edges here because it doesn't really matter. Because we're not going to blast out that far. Now I'm going to save this piece off to the side. Now we're going to take our air eraser. It does want to leak out the edges a little bit. Okay, we're good enough on that one. We'll go ahead, look at what we got here. We'll do the other side. And we'll do the same thing. So now, like the darker parts under the hands here, that's the parts we don't want to sandblast as much, so we want the hand to be the more dominant piece, so that we'll do the hands right now. But I'm going to start from the top finger. I want to do the fingernails where they show more. And you can see when you're doing this, you can see if it's frosted or not. If you see shiny spots on certain areas there, you want to frost them more. I like this one where it's overlaying, like this one finger's back underneath the other one like that. We want to just softly shadow that edge. Barely pull your trigger, just enough to get it to actually frost the mirror. We'll do the same thing here. Like I say, when you're doing mirror or glasses or anything like that, it's fun to do, and it's not as difficult to do as it is to do a car. Because what happens when you're doing a car is if you make a mistake or something, you're going to have to buy yourself another piece of glass for that car. If you make a mistake on this, you can go buy another $7 mirror. Well, it's a little more expensive to do that with a car. So you really want to practice on other stuff before you get to that point. Now remember, this is the part that you want to have a little bit heavier because you want the shadow of the robe underneath the arm to be the glass part. This up in here, I'm going to show you how to engrave. It's done with a carbon bit. I'll show you that here in a minute. See how it's still leaving the glass part right there? I'm just frosting out on the edge. That's what you want. We're going to do the fingernails because those are going to be the widest part. There we go. Remember, just lightly sand this up here because you don't want it completely frosted, but yet you want to be able to see it. You definitely don't have the same gun control that you do with a regular airbrush when you're doing painting, but you can do some pretty nice stuff. You want the eye to try to stay there. The reason being, it's the exact opposite if you're drawing with a pencil, you would draw the eye in because you want it dark. But when you're doing the sandblasting, you want the eye to stay dark, so by doing that, you leave the glass or the mirror part like we're doing now. And that will be the eye. Back at your picture, what you want to do. You want to make sure that the sand gets out on every edge. You can even lightly go around it to begin with. Then we're going to do all the detail. What's that look like? That's right, our realistic flames. So we'll just use that as a guideline here. Just kind of go right up the edge. We'll go right up the edge of it just like we do when we're doing our actual paintings. Now we can use the curved edge here. Pull out the beak part. And then we'll just go lightly around the edges again. Now what we're going to do up here is we're going to pull all this out, leaving the cross. Go around the edges. So get your reference picture again, see what you want to do. Now we'll just frost around. So unmask this. We're going to lightly shadow it. There's that part. Okay, now let's peel out this outside edge here where the glow part is here, and then we'll kind of fog all that in. Now we're just going around the edges again. Look at your glass and make sure I can see a spot right there that's not blasted. There's what it looks like all finished. Now on hand engraved all around the edges there, which I'll show you how to do engraving in an upcoming video.